Was there one part as you got into this new instructional design position, was there any type of skill that you recognized later on of like, oh wow, my teaching background really helped me in this area that maybe we don't talk about that as much within like the instructional design space?
As far as helping me, I guess just being comfortable in understanding how people learn. I think I would have more of like where I found where I struggled more than what helped me. I think I struggled more in the sense that, we are, teachers are the SMEs. They're the ones that go out there and they're the subject matter experts. Whereas in the instructional design world, you're going to those SMEs and kind of working with them. And you are, I think, let me back up. I think the hardest part for me was putting it on paper. It's all in your head. Like you can do a lesson, you can produce everything, but to put it on paper and have it laid out for the instructional design process is kind of where I struggled. I know I didn't answer that
Yeah.
question very well.
No,
I
no,
did
no,
more
no,
of
that's
like
right.
what was harder than what was easier for me. But but
Yeah, I mean, am
I
I?
guess I could. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I could say what was easy for me is just working with the team that I'm working with and the collaboration. Because with education, that's something you're always collaborating with your team members and other grade levels, and just that collaboration. And to me, that was very, very helpful.
I think that surprised me the most when I first became an instructional designer was how often I did not work with just myself. You were never just by yourself. You're always with the team members. You're always talking with stakeholders, SMEs, but even with like the engineering team to make sure that the platform is functioning properly, and customer support to make sure that they're answering the questions of the employees or the students or the whoever. There's so much communication that is involved in the back end that I really hope that people from hearing from your story are learning. But that is like it's crucial. Like I was
It's
never
huge.
alone. Yeah, at my desk. There was always some meeting. There was always something which I was like, yeah, my job consists of me being in meetings from 9 to 5. It's what I do. Somewhere I design things, but like when I was first starting off, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm just going from conference to conference, and then eventually during remote times, like I'm just going from Zoom room to Zoom room because
Yep.
there's just so much communication. Did you have any other surprises that when you first became an instructional designer, but you were like, oh, I didn't expect my job to also involve X? Was there anything like that?
Not really. I think for me, the biggest surprise, and it's not really necessarily the job itself, it was the ability to go to the bathroom when I want and like not have to tell somebody, hey, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Like, can you watch my cubicle? Like, it was pretty much, I think that one took me back. That was one of my biggest surprises and something I had to adjust to. Like, oh, I can have a lunch break where I'm like on my own and it's quiet. So those are big surprises to me. But as far as anything within the position, I really didn't have any expectation of what to expect, and I just kind of went in and was like, okay, what do you need me to do? So I didn't really go in saying, okay, I'm only going to do this. I pretty much whatever came at me, I was more than willing to help with.
Yeah, that makes sense. And yes, shocking turn of events. You can be an adult and not need
Yes.
to ask for permission to do things. And but yeah, but of course, understandably so, it is very different when you have 30 kiddos who are inside of a room and then you leave. It's not the
Exactly. It
same.
cannot be unattended.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's usually not the same thing as far as for that goes. So I'd love now to dive a little bit more into being able to share some advice with fellow teachers who are currently listening right now, who want to be able to replicate your steps, do exactly what you did, and get to that whole instructional design promised land. What advice would you give to a teacher as far as for first steps with trying to be able to make this change?
I think the very first step is wanting to do it, and not being scared to do it. I think a lot of teachers are really worried about, I can't leave my contract, I can't, like I'm stuck. And just understanding that you're not stuck, there is other options out there for you, if that's something, the route you want to go. And just be confident in yourself and your skills, and let that be known. Just put yourself out there, and work on that resume. Get that resume top notch. And again, don't follow just, okay, I'm a teacher, I taught this grade. Really go into those skills that, oh, I communicate with parents daily. I communicate by email, by phone calls, and kind of explain how you do those. And everything from, I lost my train of thought for a second. Just really those skills that you have. Oh gosh, I'm on it.
Oh, it's fine. So would it be something as in like people are being able to right now do like a live journal of sorts, of being able to like take notes as they go and being able to think about things that are happening in real time and writing them down? Would that be like a good first step?
Absolutely. Like creating pros and cons. Like if I were to stay or if I were to go, what are those pros and cons going to look like? If I get a different job, what's that going to look like? And I guess for me, my deciding factor was my kids were already past the elementary age level. And so it really kind of gave me that push, like, I've been there for them during their elementary time. Now it's time to branch out and like pursue something else and see what else is out there. So yeah, don't hold yourself where you think you have to be. There is other options available for you.
And I love the pros and cons lists, by the way. I mentioned that actually in my book because it very much felt like trying to be able to go and transition into a new job almost felt like when I'm trying to be able to go and to buy a new home in like a different area. I've never lived in a city before. Like, I'm like, what are the pros and cons of that? Thinking about with commuter time. And then, of course, like our kids are going to have to change the school. Then, things of that nature. And just being able to have a visual in front of me to be able to say that, okay, that works. Or like, oh, that's kind of a big deal. Maybe I need to reconsider, whatever. That's what definitely helped me for making many different like life-changing decisions. It is that visual pros and cons list.
And I will say it wasn't an easy decision. It was a very hard decision, and I left midway through the school year, so that was even harder to really go, okay, is this really, like, am I making the right decision? But in the end, 100%, I know I made the right decision.
And that's a very resounding answer I hear from most teachers is that it was super hard to do, but I'm so glad I did it now because I have these freedoms and flexibilities and whatnot. So, which also makes me feel sad for our society as a whole, which is a whole nother topic for another day of like, we need to do more to support our teachers. So it's definitely a bit crazy, a bit nervous there for society in general, but that also, you need to take care of yourself. You need to gotta do what's right for you and your family and everything. So
absolutely
priorities there. So it definitely makes sense.